Crocodiles. They're all packing some serious teeth, right? But some are just straight up nightmares. Which crocs are the real killers, racking up a body count that'd make your skin crawl? Which ones take entire squads to capture? And which ones are so legendary, they're practically mythical? Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the world of the planet's deadliest toothy terrors. 1. The Nile Crocodile, Africa's apex predator. So, which crocs are the baddest of the bad? Obviously, we're talking about the biggest and the ones with the biggest appetite for humans. A lot of experts point to the Nile Crocodile as the most dangerous. It's not the absolute biggest. We'll get to that monster later. But trust me, it's plenty big enough to take down anyone. These guys can stretch to 18 feet long and weigh in at over 1,600 pounds. That makes them the biggest crocodiles in Africa and one of the most terrifying predators on the whole damn planet. This is a grade A predator we're talking about. The Nile croc can handle just about any animal in Africa, from giraffes and buffaloes to even lions and hippos. They lie in wait, perfectly camouflaged, and boom, ambush attack. And unfortunately, that includes us. Because Nile crocs live near so many human settlements, we often become victims. Get this, around 200 people a year end up as croc chow. Nile crocs are all about speed and power. They've got these crazy sensitive receptors to detect prey, and then they use pure brute force to snatch it up. Once you're in those jaws, there's no escape. The bite force of a Nile croc is stronger than most sharks. So, yeah, you're gonna get hurt, and chances are that croc is gonna finish the job. But even among these terrifying creatures, some individuals are so notorious, they've become legends, and not in a good way. Take Osama, for example. This croc allegedly wiped out 10% of the population of one African village. I know, it sounds insane, right? Over 80 confirmed kills. That's a lot for one animal. Then there's Gustav. People call him the most dangerous crocodile on the planet. Officially, he's got at least 300 confirmed kills. Unofficially, some say he's responsible for thousands of deaths. Talk about a record. The crazy thing about Gustav is his size. Scientists believe he started out eating the usual croc fare, fish, antelope, etc. But somewhere along the line, he got huge and switched to a hippo and buffalo diet. People? They're just a snack. This monster lives in Burundi, and he's basically more famous than the president. Everyone knows about him, everyone's terrified of him, and everyone wants him caught. But nobody can do it. Gustav is like a croc Houdini. He's been shot at, bullets just bounce off his thick hide. Traps? He slithers right past them. Dynamite? Nope. That's why some people think he's a demigod. A mythical creature. It seems like he'll only leave this world on his own terms. 2. The Saltwater Crocodile. The biggest and baddest. But there's one croc that can rival the Nile croc in sheer terror. The Saltwater Crocodile, also known as the sea croc or salty. It's like comparing lions and tigers. One lives in Africa, the other in Asia. Both are super dangerous, but the Asian one is bigger and badder. The saltwater croc is the largest crocodile on the planet and the largest land predator, period, bigger than a polar bear. These giants regularly hit 16 feet, and the record breakers push past 20 feet, and they can weigh a ton and a half, even 2 tons. That's just mind-blowing. Plus, saltwater crocs have the most powerful bite of any land animal. If you're hanging out in Southeast Asia or Australia, where these monsters live, be careful near the water. Unlike the Nile croc, the salty can swim in both fresh and salt water. They even attack sharks in the ocean. On land, anything is fair game. Tigers are about the only thing that can stand up to these reptiles. As for humans, well, let's just say the saltwater croc gives the Nile croc a run for its money in terms of body count. These guys are so dangerous, they get captured for national security reasons. The most famous example? In 2011, in the Philippines, a salty was terrorizing local villagers, eating livestock and, allegedly, a few people. It was clear this was one particular croc, and they needed to take him down. The operation was led by a hunter nicknamed Lalong, and it involved about 100 people. They spent weeks setting traps and tracking the croc. Sadly, Lalong died of a heart attack during the hunt, but his team finished the job. The croc fell into Lalong's trap, and they wrestled the beast, finally tying him up. But even then, it was far from over. This monster snapped steel cables with a 12-ton breaking strength. Can you imagine the power? But finally, they subdued him and measured him. 20.2 feet long and almost 2,500 pounds. They named the croc Lalong in honor of the hunter. The Guinness Book of World Records recognized him as the largest saltwater croc ever caught alive. Lalong died in 2013 and was stuffed. You can see him at a museum. Even as a stuffed animal, he's terrifying. Imagine being the people who captured that thing. But Lalong wasn't the only one. There are others out there, right now. Take Dominator in Australia's Adelaide River. This giant is over 20 feet long and weighs over a ton. He's the king of the river, and tourists toss him snacks, because nobody wants to end up as a snack. Dominator fights other crocs for territory, and he's taken down plenty. But there's one croc he can't defeat, Brutus, a true Adelaide legend. Brutus is an old-timer, around 90 years old. He's been in tons of fights, even with sharks. He's missing a leg. Some say a shark bit it off, others say it was Dominator. Either way, these two are constantly battling for control of the river. So far, it's a draw, but experts think Dominator will eventually win out. For now, Brutus is still a force to be reckoned with. Then there's Bujang Senang in Malaysia. His name translates to Happy Bachelor, but don't let the name fool you. This croc was a nightmare. Legend has it he was the spirit of a warrior betrayed by his wife. He took out at least 13 people, maybe more. This guy was hyper-aggressive, attacking constantly. They threw everything at him. Harpoons, dynamite, even snipers. Nothing worked. Finally, they managed to take him down with a hail of bullets. But some people still believe it wasn't him. They say the real Bujang Senang is still out there, waiting for his chance to strike again. 3. The Mugger Crocodile, small but mighty. Okay, so we've seen the big boys, the kings of croc terror. But don't think the smaller guys are all sunshine and rainbows. Let's talk about the mugger, also known as the marsh crocodile. These guys call India and surrounding areas home, as if Bengal tigers and venomous snakes weren't enough to worry about. The mugger isn't as huge as the saltwater croc, but they're no pushovers either. They typically grow to around 11 feet and weigh up to 440 pounds, but some absolute units can reach 16 to 20 feet and weigh over 1,500 pounds. What makes them really dangerous is their speed and agility. These crocs are lightning fast, both on land and in the water. If you see a mugger just chilling, don't think it's slow. They can turn on a dime and snatch you up in a split second. They've got these gnarly teeth, up to 2 inches long, and a bone-crushing bite. They'll happily munch on anything from monitor lizards and monkeys to even dogs and otters. They're even bold enough to steal food from leopards. And yeah, muggers can be a threat to humans too. There's a subspecies in Sri Lanka called the Kimbula, and these guys are particularly nasty. They're super aggressive and attack people way more often than regular muggers. They've even adapted to salt water, so you might find them hanging out in lagoons. The creepy thing is that the Kimbula make up most of the mugger population, making these crocs even more of a worry. 4. The Geral, the peaceful oddball. Now, after all that doom and gloom, let's end on a slightly more positive note. Nature decided to cut us some slack and created a crocodile that's practically harmless, the Geral. You can't miss a Geral. They've got this crazy long, skinny snout that looks like someone stuck a saw on their face. It looks terrifying, but trust me, Gerals are pretty much harmless to humans. They might snap if you try to pet them or get too close, but otherwise, they're not a threat. Plus, these weird-looking crocs are considered sacred animals in parts of India and Nepal, so they're basically the chill, hippie cousins of the crocodile world. So what do you think? Pretty wild, right? Which of these croc legends freaked you out the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed learning about these incredible and terrifying creatures, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more amazing animal facts. Thanks for watching.